Would you like to add some fun and excitement to the lives of people you're close to? Try practical jokes. Over the years, I've instigated a few, and I want to share some with you to provide some inspiration. Now, my mom never learned how to swim, but on a hot summer's day, she was nice enough to bring my two sisters and I to a murky lake to cool off. There was a dock. My mom sat down on the dock with her legs dangling in the water while we swam in front of her. And looking for attention, as kids often do, I said, "Mom, Mom, watch this. Watch how long I can hold my breath." I dove down, I swam underneath her legs, and I came up under the dock. I watched as her legs swished back and forth. After a while, they started swishing faster. Pretty soon, they were going frantically, and she started yelling, "Curt! Curt, where are you? Curt, come up!" So I went back down underwater, swam back, popped up. "What, Mom? What's the matter?" She clutched her heart and said, "Oh, thank God." Well, as I moved into my teens, I did some of the usual pranks, like calling her late at night. "Mom, I'm sorry about the car." On another occasion, "Say, Mom, you suppose you could come bail me out of jail?" Well, my favorite teenage prank was one day we were sitting around the living room. My mom got up to go to the bathroom. She comes back, "Curt, Curt, there's one of those awful cave crickets hopping around in the bathroom. Go in there and kill it before your sisters find it." I got up from the couch. "Oh, Mom. All right." Well, I went to my bedroom. I grabbed a shotgun, a firecracker, scratches. Then I went into the bathroom. First, I smashed a cave cricket with a piece of toilet paper. Then I lit the firecracker. Boom! I came back out to the living room. "I got it, Mom." Well, by then my mom was on to me. She calmly said, "Thanks, Curt." Clearly, I needed to find a new victim. It took me a number of years, but I eventually met my wife, Mary. The prank started even before we were married. In fact, the day we got engaged, I came home from work and I said, "Honey, it's hot out. Let's go for a swim." We lived on the lake, went down, swam out to the raft. I stepped up onto the raft and she treaded water. I said, "Mary, will you marry me?" Naturally, she said, "Yes." I pulled the ring out. I bent down to put it on her finger, and then I gave it a little squeeze, and the ring shot up over her and into the water. She turned and frantically tried to grab the ring before it sank to the bottom of the lake, but she missed. She turned back to me with anguish on her face. I reached into my other pocket and pulled out the real ring. Now, lucky for me, she forgave me and married me anyway. We went on to have kids, and a number of years later, we were fishing with our 3 girls. My middle daughter, Rachel, was dressed in her full-length bib overalls. She was about 9. And she says to me, "Dad, I don't want to touch that wiggly minnow. You put it on the hook." I said, "Rachel, a little minnow is not going to hurt you." I flipped it up. That minnow somehow did a beautiful arc and went into that spot right between her t-shirt and her neck. And it started wiggling down. And Rachel responded something like this. It continued all the way down and came out the bottom of her pants. Then she started crying. I'm sure I appeared to be the meanest father on earth, but that little move, that got to be known as the minnow dance. Well, now that our kids are a little older, we don't see as much of them anymore. I'm not quite sure why. But Mary still gets an occasional practical joke. Mary likes to keep the house clean. One evening, She's going around obsessively picking things up and putting them away, turning off lights, getting ready for bed. I went into the broom closet, grabbed the broom, stuck it against the center on into the kitchen, knowing she would have to put that away. And then I stepped into the broom closet and waited in the dark. Sure enough, a couple minutes later, she opened the door and I surprised her. She punched me a couple of times, but I know that deep down she really appreciated the excitement. Now, there are ways that you can bring that kind of excitement into the lives of people you're close to. I highly recommend hanging around lakes and docks. They seem to provide a lot of good material. Tap into your creativity for inspiration. And if you're still having trouble, do a Google search for best practical jokes.